Hello everyone and welcome to Blog on Everything and welcome back to the channel and welcome to another match review for what was a third straight loss at home in La Liga for FC Barcelona to round off the year of 2024. That's right, Atletico de Madrid 2, FC Barcelona 1, and the result of course sends Atleti top of the table, and Barcelona by the end of Sunday will probably be sitting in third place. And I just have to say right off the bat, if you're a Barca fan, this might not be the match review you want to hear right now at this moment in time, because there are a few things I'll probably point out already, okay? I am not, gesticulating, hyperventilating, or visibly upset at this moment in time. In fact, I don't know if y'all can be able to see, if there's like my heart rate right now is at like 92 BPM. It's not showing up there, is it? Well, just take my word for it, okay? I'm pretty calm and collected, and it's not necessarily that I thought Barcelona were going to lose to Atletico de Madrid today, but it's more of a case of I knew Barcelona wouldn't beat Atleti today. And there are quite a few reasons for that, right? Like recent form aside, obviously, Atleti has basically won every match since, about October, late October. Basically won everything they played. And Barca, as we all know, November and December has just been a bit of a nightmare period for Barca, with just one La Liga win in between the 2 months. All right, so it's not been pretty good for Barca. But aside from that, there have been a few other things, right? If we look at this sort of run Atleti had, where they were not able to beat Barcelona at their home, it's made sense that they've not been able to beat Barca at their home, because for majority of those, years, if not all of those years, if you look at the squad Barcelona has had at their disposal and the squad Atleti has had at its disposal, you kind of don't expect that Barcelona to lose to, that Atleti, those Atleti teams, right? But if we come to this current version of Barca and Atleti, and if you look at it and think, like, if there was any version of Atleti that could possibly be able to beat Barcelona, it's probably this current one. And if there was any version of Barca that would likely lose at home to Atleti, it's probably one of these more recent iterations, since, let's say, Koeman up to now, right? And, you could make a good argument that this one in particular is probably the most vulnerable to proper Cholo tactics, right? We can make that argument. And what I think is a fact that Atleti doesn't just have the better squad between Barca and Atleti, right? I mean, just look at the subs if you want an example of, the difference in quality at the disposal of each of these managers, right? Atleti are bringing on guys like Nayo Molina, World Cup winner, right? Bringing guys like Sorloth, La Liga's top scorer last season, coming off the bench. Whereas with Barcelona, it's a bit tricky when you go past that first team, because you have guys like Ferran Torres who blow hot and cold with no form of regularity whatsoever, consistently inconsistent, right? And generally speaking, beyond that starting 11, Barcelona's options coming off the bench don't always seem as good as, because you've got your Eric Garcias coming on for Marc Casado, it's that kind of thing. So looking at it from a properly, I would say, neutral perspective, it's not a result which is all of that shocking, all things considered. Now, having said that, it's also very true to say that Atleti got away with one in this one, okay? That's just the fact of the matter. I don't know what happened to Robert Lewandowski's shooting boots, but the past 2 weeks now, he should have easily have had 4 more goals added to his tally in the league this season. But he wasted 2 very golden chances against Leganes, and today he wasted probably what was like the best chance I've seen him miss since, last season. Which, talking about last season, that's the last time we saw Lewandowski really just wasting these kinds of, goal scoring chances, the type where, he's in the 6 yard box, is sniffed out an opportunity. I mean, Ferran Torres did very well to find him in the box, right? But he couldn't make the most of it. And of course, we can then further on look at the stats, which will also suggest that Barcelona did, in fact, dominate this match and should have won it, which was no different, if we're being honest, to last weekend against Leganés. Barcelona dominated that match, should have won it, but, profligate finishing once again. And that was the case here today, which for me, I guess, for now, since, we're really coming right at the end of the year, I'll be okay to chalk it down to just fatigue within the team. For Lewandowski in particular, he's not getting any younger, so he does need his rest, and he rarely gets rest. So him losing his sharpness, that's something which shouldn't surprise us, but then it's something that should concern us because we're just halfway through the season, and if he doesn't have the legs to keep on staying sharp for the entirety of the season, then Barca are in big trouble, because what's going to happen is what we've seen just today. I mean, by the time that Atleti were scoring their first goal, Barcelona should, I say should, have scored 4 times at least. They should have scored that many. And that didn't happen today. So it's just a case sometimes of understanding exactly why certain things didn't happen, which is why, like I said, I'm not angry, I'm not, losing my head, any of that stuff, because once again, it's not a surprising result, right? Especially with the way Barcelona's results have been going over recent weeks. Barca do give up a lot of late goals, and when you're going into this match pretty late on with the game still level at 1-1, you did have that lingering at the back of your mind. If you are a reasonable person, it was probably there at the back of your mind, thinking, this is looking a lot like Betis, this is looking a lot like Celta, where we couldn't close off the match despite having had chances to do so. So, that's at the end of the day that, and we don't really have much else to do apart from wait for the return of football after this. Well, the return of La Liga, at least football in Spain, at the end of the winter break, which is now going to be in January. Barcelona have a lot of work to do in as far as, salary caps and player registrations are concerned. Dani Olmo's registrations up in the air again. So, we'll talk about stuff like that. But for now, I think for Culés, we just have to, you kind of just have to take what you get. There is probably a criticism, if I could point one out, to Hansi Flick for maybe over prioritizing the Champions League. But then again, when you think about it, it's not like Barcelona are far behind, the pace at the top in La Liga. They've still been able to keep up, and they're really just like a point away from securing top 8 football in the Champions League, which seems to have been a huge priority, I think, for Hansi Flick and Barca. So, him having done that, you can't really knock it too much, but you do have to point out the fact that there have been some rotations like we saw against, Osasuna, most notably, that Barcelona did for the sake of, keeping a fresh squad for the Champions League, that have definitely cost Barca at this point in time. So, anywho, I don't really have that much more to add. I'm not going to be out here criticizing, like I said, Hansi Flick and saying maybe he needs to go. Because for me, much like was the situation last season with Xavi, I did not think the problem is with the manager. Okay, the problem is with the squad. And I'm not necessarily saying the players are not good enough, but the squad as a whole is just way too thin. It's poorly built. We need to accept that fact. Xavi saw that, and he said it in a press conference, and he lost his job for it. But it's the truth of the matter. Last season, Barcelona spent quite a few months, or was it weeks, playing, in third place on the Liga table. And with the way things are going at the moment, that might be the case. We'll see what Real Madrid's inconsistency has to say about it. But, should they beat Sevilla and then play that game in hand against Valencia, who, it's Valencia. This season, they're not much of a challenge. Then, you could see Barca start to fall behind. But the question is, can they fix their current form? Because that's really what's let Barcelona down. 1 win from 7 matches, 4 of those matches being losses. It's not a good look. So, they have to fix that. And until they do that, it's really looking bleak for them in La Liga. Okay? But having said that, it wasn't all bad. Like I said, there was a lot to like from Barca's performance against Atleti. It just so happens that poor finishing is what kept Barcelona from arguably saying that this was their best performance of the season in La Liga. Anywho, let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section. But aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day and Forza Barca.